Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Selenia Romani, and today in this lesson, I'm going to talk about the passive form of different tenses. Okay, so here's the passive, how to form it, and when is used. So we form the passive by using the verb to be followed by the past participle. We can use the passive when we don't know who or what did something. For example, my mobile has been stolen, but we don't know by whom. Or we can use it when the action is more important than who did the action. So, for example, the income tax was introduced in England in 1798. In this example, we don't know who introduced the income tax, but the most important thing was the introduction itself, so the action. And of course, we use the passive when it is obvious who or what did something. For example, the thief has been arrested, and of course, we know that he is being arrested by the police. It's obvious. We don't have to say who did it. Okay, let's see some passive forms of the main verb tenses. Here we go with the present simple. Basically, the form of the passive is to be followed by the past participle of the action that describe the action of the sentence. In this case, in the present simple, we have the verb to be at the form of the present, so am, is, or are, followed by the past participle. For example, first we have an active sentence, which is dangerous driving caused many accidents, and the passive sentence would be many accidents are caused by dangerous driving. The present continuous is formed by am, is, or are, and the verb to be is at the ing form, being, and then the past participle. For example, the active sentence is she is following him, and the passive is he is being followed. Then the past simple, we have was or were, plus and followed by the past participle of the verb. So the active sentence, it could be the police officer saw the robber, and the passive is the robber was seen by the police officer. The past continuous, composed by was aware, then being, and the past participle. Somebody was cleaning the room when I arrived is the active sentence, and the passive is the room was being cleaned when I arrived. Then, of course, we have the present perfect, which has have or has in the first place, then been, and then the past participle. So the active sentence could be the band has cancelled the concert, and the passive is the concert has been cancelled. The past perfect is composed by had, then been, and then the past participle. For example, nobody had used that car very much is the active, and the passive is that car hadn't been used very much. The future with will is composed by will, then the verb be in the infinitive without to, and then the past participle. An active sentence could be she will catch him soon, and the passive is he will be caught soon. The future with to be going to is composed by am, is, are going, then the verb to be, and the past participle. So the active is they are going to build a new supermarket next year, and the passive is a new supermarket is going to be built next year. Then we have the modal verbs. So every single modal verb like must, can, could, should, shall, etc. is followed by be at the form of the infinitive without to, and then the past participle. So, for example, they must do something is the active sentence, and then we have something must be done as the passive. Let's move on to some characteristics of the passive form. So, we can use, in a passive sentence, we can use by followed by the person or thing to show who performs the action if the information is important. So, for example, Othello was written by Shakespeare. In this case, it's important to underline who wrote this important play. Then sometimes an active verb can have two objects, and either object can become the subject of the passive sentence. So, for example, if the active sentence is a witness gave the police some information, we have the two objects, which are the police and some information. So, either of these two objects can become the subject of the passive sentence. So we can say, the police were given some information by a witness, or some information was given to the police by a witness. It's the same thing. There's no different in the meaning. Then we can use the verb get to replace the auxiliary be in the passive of the informal language. So, for example, we can say nobody was hurt in the robbery, but also nobody got hurt in the robbery. Then, if we have only the ing form in the active sentence, the passive can be formed simply with being followed by the past participle of the verb. So, for example, if the active sentence is, I don't like people telling me what to do, the passive becomes, I don't like being told what to do. And then the last thing, to talk about birth, we say I was born, which is a passive form, and not I am born. So, for example, I can say I was born in Paris, or ask, where were you born? But of course, if I want to say something in the present, for example, we can use the verb to be at the present simple and then the past participle born. For example, how many babies are born every day? Let's move on to the personal and impersonal passive construction. So, some verbs of opinion or of intellectual activity, such as say, report, suppose, believe, consider, expect, know, and think, can be used to form the personal or impersonal form of the passive of a passive sentence. The impersonal construction is introduced by the pronoun it, followed by an opinion verb at the passive form, and a secondary sentence introduced by that. So if the active sentence is people believe he is lying, then the passive sentence becomes it is believed that he is lying. On the other hand, the personal construction is formed with the object of the active sentence, which becomes the subject in the passive one, followed by the opinion verb at the passive form, and then this one followed by to plus the infinitive. So, for example, the active sentence is they expect him to arrive soon, and the passive becomes he is expected to arrive soon, where he is the subject, is the object of the active sentence. Okay. Let's talk about have or get something done. We use the construction have something done when we ask someone else to do something for us. The construction is composed by the subject in the first place, then have or has, then the object or action, and then the past participle. For example, Lisa repaired the roof is an active sentence because she repaired it herself. But if we say Lisa had the roof repaired, we are saying that she arranged for somebody else to repair it. The form with get something done has the same meaning of have something done, but is more informal. Keep in mind that have is not the auxiliary verb in this sentence. So if we want to form a negative or an interrogative sentence, we have to use other auxiliary verb. For example, he doesn't have his hair cut. And of course, again, this construction is also used to say when somebody suffers a situation unwittingly. For example, Rob had his nose broken in a fight. But in this case, it's not something that he chose. It's something that he suffered, and he suffered it unwillingly. Okay, that was it. Of course, if you have any questions, just write it down below this video and I will answer as soon as I can. And that was it. Thank you. Bye.